When a nation has been reduced to forming folk dancing troupes in order to maintain old customs, it means that the folklore of bygone days is menaced by extinction. When that nation goes to the extent of opening schools to safeguard traditional dances and timeless music, the source of this art form is running dry. The Tibetans who have taken refuge in India know this well. What happened? Some 70,000 Tibetans from different provinces took refuge in Indian territory. None were turned away by the Indian government, which helped them with a sense of urgency, ensuring that they had at least enough to live on. Very often, parents have accepted particularly hard jobs, such as building roads at high altitudes. They are obliged to leave their small children with organizations that can take them into care, like this nursery in Dharamsala, where they are looked after and educated under the supervision of the Dalai Lama's sister. But these children are not just refugees like other involuntary immigrants and people in exile almost anywhere in the world, who try to smile again despite their parents being dead, their village destroyed, and their freedom lost. These children are also the frail heirs to the Tibetan tradition and to the extraordinary Buddhist wisdom which achieved the celebrity of their country, all the more mysterious since almost unknown. The world is roused when the architectural relics of a civilization that died out thousands of years ago are in danger of becoming lost. And all the newspapers talk about the efforts and the enormous sums of money that have been given to protect the Egyptian temples on the Upper Nile. Nor the commercial success of a few sensational books enable these refugees with no resources to support the true spiritual masters who are now settled on the Indian slopes of the Himalayas and in Sikkim, and to rekindle the fire which has dimmed on the high plateaus where it had been burning so brightly for so long. Up until 1959, the few films and photos which were made mostly in Sikkim or in Darjeeling in India revealed an astonishing world to us. Superficial reports gave the feeling that Tibetans were worshipping a pantheon of divinities with grimacing faces, in whose honor macabre rituals were celebrated that were generally considered as the degeneration of Buddhism. It was difficult for Europeans, for Christian missionaries in particular, to discover the wisdom behind the symbols in these apparently grotesque displays. What is this Lamaism then, since such is the name given by Westerners to the Tibetan Buddhism? Before Buddhism, and then parallel to Buddhism, other types of worship such as shamanism have always existed in Tibet. The principal and oldest of these religions is the Burn, or Burnpo. It was to the Burn religion's disadvantage that Buddhism became established in Tibet, where it was declared the state religion. Tibetan Buddhism is one thing, Burn is another. It is important not to confuse them. Like Buddhist Tibetans, some sorcerers and shamans have also fled their country over the last years to find safety in Bhutan or Sikkim. These sorcerers look like those used by some of the Buddhists who belong to the Red Hat order. Observers in too much of a hurry have easily been mistaken, and naturally the Tibetan Buddhists don't appreciate this kind of confusion. Tibetan monks, on the contrary, severely condemn any animal sacrifice. The only sacrifice recognized by the Buddha being the sacrifice of the ego and of the attachment to the world of forms. Personal inner sacrifice, not one of goats or chickens. Buddhism was born in India at the foot of the famous Bodhi tree, where 500 years before the birth of Christ, the Buddha Gautama attained awakening, illumination, perfection. 12 centuries later, Buddhism spread to and eventually took over the vast plateaus of Tibet. Bodh Gaya, the one who, for 2,500 years, people have considered to be the savior, the liberator, the conqueror of suffering, meditated here, struggled through the battle against himself, and triumphed. Here, after having found the path of life beyond all births and all deaths, Gautama the Buddha decided to set the wheel of the doctrine into motion and to give man the teaching of the noble truths which embodies the true vision of what is, and also to teach about the path that leads from darkness to light, from illusion to truth, from death to eternity. His message: everything is ephemeral, ceaselessly changing, and nothing, nobody, nor you nor I have an identity that is autonomous or permanent. Here, beneath a tree like this one, the noble prince who had given up the throne and who had become a monk to free himself and to free other beings from all pain and suffering. Here, Gautama, the Muni, the ascetic from the Sakya family, on the morning that followed a night that will be blessed forever, became Buddha, the enlightened one, the awakened one, the perfect one. Beyond the Dalai Lama's two masters, beyond these two important dignitaries of the Tibetan Buddhist sect of the Yellow Hats, these prosternations and offerings are addressed to the eternal body of the Buddha. They are symbols of the only true offering, that of oneself.